There's a kind of silence a powerful woman carries, so quiet it makes noise in a man's mind long after she's gone. This silence isn't empty. It's filled with mastery of emotion, of boundaries, of her own energy. And unless you've trained your awareness, you won't notice what she's doing, but you'll feel it deeply. There is a common misunderstanding that power, especially in women, must be loud, that to be recognized, to be valued, to be loved. One must speak more, do more, give more. But true power does not arrive with noise. It enters with presence. A kind of presence that stills the air, that slows time in the room, that makes others instinctively listen. Not because she demands attention, but because her energy commands it. She knows that what truly attracts isn't the volume of her effort, but the depth of her being. This kind of presence isn't built overnight. It is not bought, and it cannot be borrowed. It is cultivated in silence, refined through self-observation, and mastered through repeated trials of restraint. And it is this very presence that is one of the first secrets every powerful woman keeps from men. She does not advertise it. She does not explain it. She lives it. And in doing so, she evokes curiosity, admiration, even reverence. Imagine a woman sitting across from a man. She doesn't interrupt, doesn't rush, doesn't try to fill the silence. She listens, not just with her ears, but with her whole being. Her breathing is slow. Her posture is upright but relaxed. She is completely in the moment, not drifting into the past, not worried about how she is perceived. And the man, whether he's aware or not, begins to mirror her nervous system. His own restlessness softens. He begins to slow down too. Not because she told him to, but because she invited it without words. This is the power of presence over performance. In a world conditioned by digital noise, where appearances are curated and validation is sold in likes and comments, presence has become rare. And what is rare becomes valuable. A powerful woman understands that if she enters a room trying to prove herself, she's already lost something essential. Her center. Performance is often rooted in insecurity. Presence, by contrast, arises from inner stillness. When you have nothing to prove, your energy becomes unmistakable. There is an old teaching from the East. When the mind is quiet, the soul speaks. This is not metaphor. This is neuroscience. The human brain is wired with mirror neurons, cells that fire not when we act, but when we observe someone else acting. It means we are biologically designed to feel each other's emotional states without words. So when a woman enters a space fully anchored in herself, others feel it. And this is why powerful women can walk into a room and shift its energy without uttering a single sentence. Real life offers countless illustrations of this. Consider the elderly grandmother who sits in the corner of a gathering, saying little, but radiating such calm that children naturally flock to her lap, or the executive woman who barely speaks in meetings. But when she finally does, everyone listens because her words are few but weighty. These women aren't chasing recognition. They are embodying it. And men, in particular, find themselves drawn not to the external, but to the internal posture of such women. It is not about physical beauty. It is about inner composition. And this inner composition brings us to the second secret, emotional alchemy. Every human being experiences emotions: joy, sadness, jealousy, love, fear. But not every human being knows what to do with them. Many people, especially in relationships, either suppress their emotions to avoid conflict or unleash them uncontrollably to assert dominance. Both approaches lack mastery. A powerful woman does neither. She transforms her emotions. She does not leak them. Emotional alchemy is not about detachment. It is about discipline. A powerful woman does not allow a fleeting emotion to control her permanent character. When frustration arises, she feels it fully, But instead of reacting impulsively, she breathes, she creates space, and in that space, she observes. She recognizes the sensation not as who she is, but as something moving through her. This is the beginning of emotional maturity. Modern psychology confirms this ancient wisdom. Emotional regulation, the ability to manage and respond to emotional experiences with conscious control, is directly linked to healthier relationships, better decision-making, and greater mental resilience. In fact, studies show that individuals with high emotional intelligence are more likely to sustain long-term romantic relationships. And what's fascinating is that this regulation begins in the body. Before we speak, before we act, our heart rate changes, our breath shifts, our muscles tighten. A powerful woman has trained herself to notice these physiological cues. She is not at the mercy of her biology. She works with it. There's a story of a woman named Elena who, after years of being emotionally reactive, decided to shift how she handled conflict. Her partner often criticized her tone during arguments. In the past, she would lash out defensively, her words sharp, her voice raised. But one evening, during a particularly heated discussion, she paused. She noticed the tightness in her chest, the shallow breath. Instead of reacting, she inhaled slowly and said, "Give me a moment." She stepped away, took 5 minutes to reconnect with her breath, and returned, not with more anger, but with clarity. Her partner was stunned. That one act didn't just de-escalate the fight. It changed the dynamic of their entire relationship. He began to respect her differently, not because she overpowered him, but because she showed mastery over herself. This is emotional alchemy. To feel deeply, yet express wisely. To turn reaction into reflection. To allow emotions to inform, but not control. And when a man experiences this, something inside him shifts. He begins to recognize a different kind of strength. Not brute force, not emotional chaos, but composed power. A woman who does not betray herself in the face of emotional turbulence becomes unforgettable. She becomes a mirror for him. Not a mirror of his expectations, but a mirror of his potential. He begins to see how grounded energy can bring more peace than control. He may not understand what is happening at a cognitive level, but he will feel the difference. And that feeling of safety, of stability, of quiet intensity can be more attractive than any physical trait. Some men find this uncomfortable at first. They are used to emotional patterns based on drama, control, or dependency. But a powerful woman disrupts these patterns simply by not participating in them. She doesn't match emotional chaos with more chaos. She doesn't explain herself over and over to gain validation. She doesn't negotiate with her boundaries just to keep the peace. She simply holds her center. And in doing so, she teaches without teaching. This capacity to remain grounded in the face of provocation is not just relationship wisdom. It is spiritual work. It is nervous system regulation. It is the art of self-respect. And every time she does it, she deepens her own sense of identity. She builds a temple within that no storm can tear down. From this place, love flows differently, not as need, not as fear, but as choice. So the first secret, presence, is the foundation. And the second, emotional alchemy, is the fuel. Together, they form an invisible aura that surrounds a powerful woman. It is this aura, not her words, not her looks, that makes men stop, pay attention, and re-evaluate everything they thought they understood about connection. As she walks through the world, she may not share these secrets openly. But every man who encounters her will feel them and wonder what it is she carries that others do not. And while he may never fully articulate it, one thing becomes clear: he will never see her the same way again. There are moments in a woman's life when the world will ask her to explain herself, to soften her voice, to accommodate the needs of others, even at the expense of her own inner alignment. In those moments, the powerful woman chooses something else. She chooses to honor her sacred no. It is not a refusal born from arrogance or anger. It is a quiet, firm recognition of her own energy, her time, her values. And it is through this simple, often uncomfortable act of boundary setting that her deepest strength is revealed. Not only to others, but to herself. The third secret every powerful woman keeps from men is this: she does not fear disappointing someone else if it means staying true to herself. A man may not understand at first why she says no to the dinner he planned at the last minute, or why she declines an invitation when her intuition signals something is off. But with time, if he is paying attention, he realizes that her no is not rejection, it is direction. It shows where her integrity lies. The sacred no is not spoken with aggression. It is not a reaction. It is a decision grounded in clarity, and clarity is what creates respect. In psychology, boundary setting is closely linked to the preservation of self-esteem. Studies in emotional wellness show that individuals who communicate their boundaries clearly experience less resentment, less burnout, and more balanced relationships. What's fascinating is that the power of no is not just in the word itself, it's in the energy behind it. This energy speaks a language men often don't hear but instinctively feel. A woman who can say no without justifying,